So hello and welcome back to my channel. Thanks so much for joining me here today. Today I'm going to be talking about my fall favorites, which I have been dying to sit down and talk to you guys about. My fall favorites entail two aspects of my fall, which have been the highest of the highs and the lowest of the lows. I went to Japan in the beginning of October, which was incredible. So several of my fall favorites revolve around my trip to Japan. And then several of my fall favorites actually revolve around me getting really, really sick. I got COVID and then a subsequent sinus infection, which you can probably still hear in my voice a little bit. I still do have some nasal congestion. So yeah, my fall, pretty much all of October and then most of November so far has been dealing with, not dealing with, I don't want to say dealing with Japan. It was being in Japan, which was spectacular and incredible. And then unfortunately getting sick. So like I said, some of the most highest of the highs of my life and then the lowest of the lows that I've experienced in my life. Or I should say some of the most trying times I've had in my life. So yeah, it was pretty bad being sick. But anyway, I do want to talk to you guys about Japan just real briefly. It was a very, very spontaneous trip. It was not a trip that was planned at all. I got invited by one of my closest, dearest friends in my life to go to Japan with her. It was a organized trip through Modern Adventures. That's a tour company, and it was a tour curated by Heath Ceramics. I don't know if you all are familiar with Heath Ceramics, but anyway, it's a ceramics company owned by a couple, or it's based in San Francisco and it's owned by a couple. And the couple was actually on the trip and they curated the trip with Modern Adventures to Japan. So anyway, my friend and her mother were planning to go on this trip. And then at the last minute, her mom had to back out because of some health issues. And so my friend Megan was trying to recruit her husband to go on the trip with her. He couldn't go, her sister couldn't go. So I was the next one in line for her to invite. So it was kind of a once in a lifetime opportunity for me. And so I said absolutely yes that I would go on this trip with her. So anyway, it was very last minute. I went in pretty much blind. I did not do any research on the trip. I mean, I looked at the itinerary, of course, but I didn't research the places we were going in terms of like museums and all that. I just kind of went in blind, and it actually was really, really incredible. We were in Tokyo. That's where we were for the first few days. And then we went to two art islands. We went to Naoshima and Teshima, which were really life-changing experiences. So I really am not exaggerating when I said, highest of the highs in terms of life experiences for me, just really transcendent experiences from an art perspective, but also just like a spiritual perspective. I actually don't really want to talk too much about it. So for any of you, because I don't want to ruin it for any of you who might actually go there, for me, it was really interesting going in not knowing about it, because I think it actually heightened the experience for me, not really knowing what I was getting myself into. And then after that, we were in Kyoto for several days, and Kyoto was just phenomenal. So anyway, let me talk about my favorites while I was in Japan, and I'll kind of talk to you a little bit more about my trip. So anyway, we were in Tokyo, and we stayed in the hotel. We stayed in the Park Hyatt Tokyo, which was where they filmed Lost in Translation. So that was really interesting. And a couple things that I brought on the trip are, the favorites that I'm going to be talking about. So the first thing that I want to talk about actually is the Clé de Peau concealer, which is kind of a favorite of mine for today because my dark circles and the puffiness, recovering from my illness is just still, something that I'm kind of struggling with right now. So I use this Clé de Peau concealer today. But anyway, I don't think I brought any other complexion products except for the Clé de Peau. I don't typically wear a lot of makeup and foundation, when I am traveling. So this is the only product I brought. So I brought this and then the Rare Beauty concealer brush. And this was just such a great product to have for travel. It's obviously very small, easy to travel with, and it just blends out really well. So I would use a pretty, liberal amount under my eyes and then just use this brush and just blend it out, almost kind of like a full complexion product. And it just really did the job for me, did what I wanted it to do in terms of covering my dark circles. So this is just such a fantastic product. I've talked about it a few times on my channel, but I cannot sing the praises highly enough about this Clé de Peau concealer. I have had this for years and years. I think they've reformulated it with SPF, so mine actually does not have SPF in it. So I can't speak to the new formulation, but I'm assuming that it is just as good as the one that I have. So this is a fantastic concealer. Absolutely love it. And I really do love the Rare Beauty concealer brush, which, like I said, I brought on my trip with me. So these two were huge, huge favorites for my travel and for the fall. Another product that I brought with me for travel is the Kaja Bento, and this is a trio of eyeshadows, and the one I brought with me is Chocolate Dahlia. And this has one shimmery topper, which I really did not use on the trip. I think I used this maybe a couple of times, maybe in the evening for a few dinners that we had, which were a little bit on the fancier side. But what I used pretty much every day is this lighter kind of mid-tone chocolatey brown. So what I would do is I would just apply this color all over my mobile lid, and then just and I would apply it actually with my finger, and then I would blend it up just a little bit around the brow bone. And I feel like what it did is it just kind of smoothed out the lid and just kind of gave a even tone and a little bit of definition to the lid, and just kind of, I don't know, it's just interesting. It just kind of like woke up my face and, just like I said, just kind of gave definition to my eye. And then the third color is this darker chocolatey brown color. And then what I would do is I brought my favorite Hakuhodo. This is a Japanese brush brand, tool brand. And this is a flat brush, and you can see I used it today. Actually, I used this whole trio on my eyes today. So you can see the color of the dark shadow on the tip here. So what I do is I dip that into the, where am I here? Into the darker color, and then I use that to line my waterline. I don't ever get any irritation from this shadow using it in my waterline, and then just a little bit on the top lid as well, just to kind of line it a little bit. So that's pretty much what I did every morning, just super basic. And I just really loved the look. Very easy to travel with. Again, this is kind of travel focused. Very easy to travel with, and I just really fell in love with this all over again. I have really been enjoying this Kaja trio for a while now, but while I was in Japan, I just kind of fell in love with it, like I said, and this is just such a great brush. I've had this for forever, but I will see if I can find a link to it. I kind of jumped into makeup. I do have a skincare item that I do want to talk about in terms of a favorite, and this is the Le Prunier SPF. I did bring this with me on the trip. This is a brand new tube. I did have to re-up because the one that I did bring to Japan is almost finished. You might recall that I did mention that I purchased this for our trip to Portugal, and my whole family used it. Mostly my son and I do use this because we share a bathroom, and so he uses my tube of it. So we're pretty much done with that. So I bought a new tube, but I did take the other tube with me on my trip. So that is pretty much all done. But yeah, this has been a huge favorite of mine, not only through the summer, but definitely this fall. And I think it's just going to be a staple of mine moving forward. But this continues to be a favorite of mine, definitely a fall favorite, because like I said, I did take it on my trip to Japan. Also, another thing that I did bring on this trip is I did bring the Manasi 7, and this color is in, what is this color? Oh, it's Duras, D-U-R-A-S, and this is just a really beautiful kind of neutral brownie pink, and Boxwalla was doing 20% off, and so I decided to go ahead and give this color a try. And if you've watched my videos for a while now, you know I've been in love with Beauty Habit for a long time. I've placed many orders with them over the years, and Beauty Habit used to carry Manasi 7. I don't think they do anymore. And you can request specific samples from Beauty Habit. And so years ago, I did request samples of Manasi 7, but for whatever reason, I just didn't really, I wasn't able to get the full experience of Manasi 7 in just the tiny little plastic samples that they sent. I think they got kind of dried out, and I just wasn't, I don't know, I just didn't get a great sort of impression from Manasi 7 back then. So when Boxwala carried them and they had the 20% off, I decided that this would be a great time to kind of rediscover them basically. And I really love this color. I don't have it on my face today, but I will go ahead and just swatch it on my hand here so that you can get a good idea of what it looks like. It looks pretty warm here, but on my cheeks, it actually reads more neutral, but it's just a very wearable neutral pink, I would say. And anyway, I really enjoyed it. I think I'll just put the remainder on my cheeks here. But it was very easy to travel with, didn't worry about, anything spilling or, like a powder breaking in my bag or anything like that. Just, like I said, very easy to travel with. You can put it anywhere on your face. You can put it on your lips. You can put it on your eyes. I didn't tend to do that though. I just mostly wore it on my cheeks. I think what I would do is I would put it on my cheeks and then I would dab the excess on my lips and then just put a little bit of gloss on it. So very travel friendly, very impressed with Manasi in general. I think I'll talk about them more in a future video because I did pick up a few more things from Manasi, but this is the one that I did travel with to Japan and really enjoyed it. So this is definitely a fall favorite. Next on fall favorites that revolves around my Japan trip were the hotel amenities. Like I said, we stayed in the Park Hyatt in Tokyo. I can't even begin to tell you how amazing the hotel amenities were just across the board. At the Park Hyatt in Tokyo, the amenities there were Le Labo, and the scent that they had there was the bergamot. And so I brought home a few extra for me. So this bergamot is really lovely. I didn't really like the lotion, I have to say, but the gel and the soap were really beautiful. So this was a huge favorite of mine for sure. I also really fell in love with the robe that they had there, not the terry cloth robe, but the cotton, they call it a yukata. So it's not quite, as formal as like a kimono, but like I said, they call it a yukata. So I'll insert a picture here of me wearing it. I just snapped it this morning when I got out of the shower. And anyway, I really fell in love with it. And so I brought one home for myself and also for my husband. So that has definitely been a favorite. Really love that robe a lot. And then also, let's see, what else about the hotel there and just Tokyo in general. The view from our room was just outstanding. And then Tokyo in general was, it's really amazing, and it was very overwhelming as well. Like I said, since I hadn't done any research, I was really blown away by how big Tokyo is. It's huge in terms of area, and I was very disoriented, and also just, like I said, disoriented, but in a good way, and just felt like there were so many pockets and neighborhoods and shops and restaurants and just so many things to discover. Like, I just feel like I really need to go back and just even get more of a feel for Tokyo than I did in just kind of that short time that we were there. It was very art focused, so we went to a lot of museums and we went to some gardens. But there's just so much to explore and do just in Japan, obviously, but Tokyo in particular. We left Tokyo Tokyo, we went to Naoshima, which is an island that is very focused on art. And there is a very famous Japanese architect, Tadao Ando. I hope I'm saying his first name correct, Tadao, T-A-D-A-O, Tadao Ando. He was an architect who created many of the buildings that are on that island. And it's actually just so hard to explain the experience on that island. You are not allowed in pretty much across the board in Japan to take photographs inside of museums, which actually was quite an incredible experience, which I think actually heightened the experience of art in Japan in general, because when you are inside the museum, you're not even thinking about taking photographs. Nobody around you is taking photographs. Nobody is pulling out their phone. So you are just so in the moment of experiencing the art. For the most part, also nobody has shoes on. So it's just a really incredible experience of, you're very grounded, literally, with your feet on the floor with no shoes on. So no shoes on, no phones, nobody's taking pictures. You're just in the moment with the art. And it just was, like I said, very, very hard for me, I have to say, to explain in words the experience of the art and the architecture in particular on Naoshima. It's called the Chichu Museum, and it was created to house 3 artists' work. One of the artists is Monet, and it was just, I don't know, it was just a transcendent experience, truly. And honestly, sitting down here thinking about it has been one of the first times since I've been home that I've actually been able to kind of like sit and really think about my experience in Japan, because as I told you, I got really sick. So yeah, it's very challenging to put into words my experience with the art in Japan that I had. But when we were there on the island, there is a hotel called the Manasi House that was also created by Tadao Ando. And that was an incredible experience because the hotel is also a museum. And that was just outstanding. We also went to another island just for the day. We went to Teshima, which again, off the charts in terms of a full body art experience. I'm not even going to begin to try to explain. If you want to look it up, look up Teshima, Teshima. I don't even think I maybe have a photograph, but there's just, again, you can't take pictures inside. Just absolutely incredible. If you ever go to Japan, you absolutely have to go to Naoshima and Teshima. And then from there, we went to Kyoto. In Kyoto, we stayed in the Park Hyatt Kyoto. Again, amenities. Absolutely amazing. There they do carry Le Labo, and at that hotel they had the Santal scent for Le Labo. I'm sure many of you are familiar with the Santal scent. It's pretty ubiquitous here in the States, but it was just really nice to have this lovely sandalwood scent. And now this will forever be linked in my brain with that just incredible hotel. It is the most amazing hotel experience that I have ever had. Oh, I do also have to mention that their spa there, like their wellness center, so the gym was really beautiful. And then they also had like 2 plunge baths and like the whole shower and, like a spa situation in a hotel. But their amenities in the spa were actually different than the ones in the room. And so I purchased some. The brand is called Kotoshina. And I think you can actually buy them. I went to their website. So I purchased their cleansing milk and the face wash gel. I have no idea what the ingredients are. Everything is in Japanese. And I also purchased the body milk. I'm not going to talk too much about them because I'm just not sure if you can purchase them. I went to the website. I will link the website down below. Everything is in Japanese, so you kind of got to fumble your way through if you actually did want to try to find the cleansing milk and the face gel. But they do have some kind of a link to, or what pops up is this thing called world shipping. So I think you can actually purchase it, but I've never used this little world shipping. I'm not exactly sure even what it is. I'm going to wait and see once I get through these if I really want to kind of take that risk and use that world shipping. I don't know even what you call it. If any of you have ever used this little world shipping thing that pops up to maybe help you purchase from an international website, let me know. But anyway, incredible, just creamy cleansing milk that's just so beautiful. The face wash gel, absolutely beautiful. So anyway, once again, I have to say the amenities at these hotels were just like absolutely incredible, like nothing else I've ever experienced in my life before. Oh yeah, I also wanted to mention two other things. I did bring a perfume with me. I brought the Maison Louis Marie number 4 Bois de Balancourt. I still just have this tiny little mini, a little bit goes a long way. I don't tend to wear a ton of perfume. I want it to wear very closely to me. This has cedar and sandalwood in it, vetiver, amberwood. I think when they say amberwood, they're talking about like an accord, which typically amber is just very warm and sensual. Amber tends to be a mix of vanilla and benzoin and labdanum. I think there's also cinnamon and nutmeg in here. So I don't really know what their amber accord is in here, but it is very, warm and sensual. It is on the sweet side. So I think that there probably is a little bit of vanilla in here, but for me, definitely it's very overriding on that cedar sandalwood scent that's just really beautiful, very nice and enveloping. And it kind of went along with that Le Labo kind of sandalwood scent for me. I don't know. It just was very enveloping, very warm and cozy. And it just felt like it kind of went along with the theme of Japan for me that I was experiencing. And I also just want to mention that brand is phthalate free, if that is important to you, which it is important to me. I do not like to have anything with phthalates in it on my body or in our home if I can help it. I also want to give a huge shout out to the shoe company Vivaia. They are a sustainable shoe company. They reached out to me a while ago. This is not sponsored in any way. They just reached out to me, asked if they could send me a couple pairs of their shoes just for review. And I ended up really liking them so much that I ended up taking one of the pairs on my trip to Japan with me. So these super cute flats are their Aria 5. And they were super comfortable right out of the box, and they are also like super flexible. So I figured they would go in my suitcase very easily, which they did. They packed very easily. So I brought them to Japan with me. So that's why they are on my favorites for Japan. So I'm just gonna tell you a little bit about the two pairs that I got. So obviously I got the Aria 5. Like I said, it's a sustainable shoe company. These shoes are made from recycled plastic bottles. So they use sustainable materials. They also use cotton and hemp and some of their other shoe styles. So I will say that this shoe right here, the Aria 5, is good for narrow feet. I do have narrow feet. So this would be a good style for you if you have narrow feet. If you like this print and you have wide feet, then I would go for the Margot, and I will show you a picture of the Margot. That would be good if you have wide feet. So anyway, I'm gonna show you a picture of myself. I am definitely not a fashion blogger or a fashion YouTuber, but I will show you a couple of pictures of how I style, quote unquote style this shoe. The first one here is just super casually, just with a pair of jeans. And you'll have to forgive, the picture is of me in my basement. That is the best mirror in my house. So yeah, I'm in my basement here. So like I said, this is not an official fashion blogging site. So you're just gonna have to bear with me here on these photographs. And then the next picture is just in a pair of black boot cut pants. So this is how on a daily basis, how I would wear these shoes. In terms of in Japan, they were very comfortable. I wouldn't say that I was able to wear them for an entire day of walking all over the city. I would say that after about a half a day, I was ready to get back into sneakers in terms of just like walking a lot. But for a day of work or just running errands, these would absolutely be perfect. But I do think if you were going to be walking all over New York City, let's say from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., I think that I would need to break these in just a little bit more. But anyway, absolutely adorable, really comfortable, really good for travel. And then the next pair that I picked out are these super cute boots that you can see have this really, interesting woven pattern. And again, these are made from plastic bottles as well, the upper is. And then I also have pictures of myself in these boots as well. So here you can see, again, I'm in my basement and just same pair of jeans, just super casual. And then I have a picture of myself here just in a skirt with these boots. I just thought that would be really cute to pair these boots with a fun leopard print skirt. And I should mention my size. I do tend to run between a size 7 and a 7.5. So for the flats, I got a size 37.5. So I believe that is a 7.5. And these fit me great. There is like a perfect fit. And then as far as the boots go, they don't have half sizes in this. So I got a size 38. So, and these fit me very well. So like I said, good for narrow feet. These seem like they're good for narrow feet as well. I'm not too sure how these would work with wide feet, but they are very stretchy. So you might want to look at if you are interested in these and you do have a wide foot, I might just check out the reviews on their website. But thank you so much to Vivaia for sending those to me. So far, I've been super impressed by both of the shoes. So now moving on to me getting sick. It was just really, really horrendous. I got COVID. And then I just got the worst sinus infection of my life. And it was just horrible. I just can't even tell you how bad the pain was. But there were a few things that did help ease my pain and were very, very timely. I really want to thank Maison Made. They sent me their 2 new Hydrosols that, I can't even tell you like how perfect the timing was. Let me show you the box first. So this is what the box looks like. And they sent me I just really love their presentation. And they sent me this beautiful letter with the wax seal. But the most important thing are these 2 products, which I don't know if you can see. I'm almost done with the peppermint and I'm about halfway done with the rosemary. Let's go ahead and talk about the rosemary first. This is their rosemary hydrosol. Maison Made works with biodynamic distillers in very limited quantities. They themselves are a biodynamic farm. They have a Burgundy estate in France, but they do work with other distillers just, to also support other farms that use biodynamic farming. So anyway, this is their rosemary hydrosol. It is antiseptic. It helps decrease inflammation. And it is the best rosemary hydrosol I have ever experienced. I have used other rosemary hydrosols. I think I've used the Laurel one, which, was lovely. I don't think I completely fell in love with it though. I think there was something a little, I don't know, it just didn't resonate with me, so to speak. But this one is it is so therapeutic. Like when I was sick, I had this at my bedside and I still am. I'm not sick anymore. I'm not contagious, but I feel like I still am recovering. So I have this by my bedside and I just spray it all over me before I go to sleep. And it just, all I can say is it has just a very therapeutic effect when I inhale it, and I just absolutely love it. I'm in love with this hydrosol. So if you are a rosemary fan, I cannot sing the praises high enough for this Maison Made rosemary hydrosol. And then the next one is the peppermint one, and this has analgesic properties, antiseptic properties. It helps regulate the oil production on your skin, and it also helps calm rashes, sunburn, and itchiness. The Maison Made folks on their website say this is a great one to have at your bedside if you are pregnant. And this one was particularly great when I just for my sinus congestion, I would spray it just like super close to my face. and just inhale it, obviously in through my nose. But even though I was like in such sinus pain, I just felt like when I inhaled it through my nose, it just gave me momentary relief. And I'm just gonna spray it right now. There is something I don't know, there's something kind of magical about this peppermint hydrosol. Obviously it's bright and it's refreshing. I mean, it's peppermint, but there's also this creaminess to it. I don't know what it is, but it has this creamy aspect to it. It's just beautiful. So I am absolutely blown away by both of these hydrosols. I think they're really, really special. They're not cheap. They're both $30. So, a little bit of an investment, but so beautiful. I think these would make such an incredible gift. So anyway, thank you so much to Maison Made for sending these my way. The timing of getting these could not have been better. So, so special. So if you want to treat yourself to a really incredible hydrosol, you should do it. Or if you want to give yourself, or if you have somebody in mind who you think would love that as a gift for the holidays, I just honestly cannot recommend it highly enough. Another thing that came my way while I was sick was Carolyn from Le Botanical sent me her Breathe Deep Herbal Tisane, and this was so kind of her to send my way. I love her packaging for her teas. She also has a black tea on her website as well right now, which is really beautiful. So I am almost out of this, but I think you can see a little bit in here what the tea looks like. Just right, opening this up, the scent just is very therapeutic. You can smell the mints in here, which let me go ahead and tell you what is in here. There's mints, like I said, to awaken the senses and help decongest. There's anise hyssop, which is a nervine, which is antispasmodic, which is also going to help you move the mucosa. There's linden leaf and flower. There's marshmallow, which is a demulcent, which is also going to, just help soothe and relieve, kind of like a cough or dryness that you're having if you are sick. And even if you're not sick, it just feels very healing and very lovely for this time of year. So thank you so much to Carolyn and the Live Botanical team for sending this my way. It was just such a lovely gesture. And then also another thing that was so helpful and a favorite of mine over this fall time was the Selene steam from Earthwise Beauty. I always like to have one in my tea drawer because there's, inevitably there's something like this that happens, where I am congested or having a rough go. And what I like to use the steam for is, a steam for my sinuses. So of course it's beautiful for a facial steam for the health of your skin, but I like to have it on hand as a steam for my sinuses. So I use the Selene steam for that purpose. And let me see, I think I wrote down in my notes what exactly is in the Selene steam. There's white yarrow, chrysanthemum, green tea leaves, comfrey, calendula, cornflowers, and plantain leaves. It is empty now. I used it all up, so I'm gonna hopefully be able to find a picture to insert in here to show you how absolutely beautiful the Selene steam is. It is soothing, anti-inflammatory, and it's an acne reducing blend, just in terms of for your skin. For me, it's a beautiful herbal medicine to have on hand. And so anyway, one of my favorites from Earthwise Beauty. And I think, I do have one more thing I want to talk about, which I did find, or actually two things, which were very helpful for me to have on hand while I was not doing so well. I did get the Necessaire body exfoliator. I got this in there, I think they have like a travel or sort of like a sample size. I think maybe 4 products come in it. Anyway. This is their smaller size of their eucalyptus body scrub, and this was so great to have. The eucalyptus scent in here is quite strong. It's stronger than the eucalyptus scent of their gel, and the gel actually did come in this travel pack as well, or I'm calling it the travel pack. I don't know exactly what they call it, but I'm calling it the travel pack. But anyway, the eucalyptus in this scrub is quite strong, so basically what I would do is I would just put a dollop of it in my hand, scrub it into my hands, and I would just like stick it in my face and just inhale so that I could just get that eucalyptus scent. I took a lot of steamy showers during this time, and I loved inhaling this eucalyptus scrub. And then basically after I finished huffing it, I would just kind of like scrub, you know, I would put it on my chest, scrub it on my chest, and it just, again, very therapeutic for me to have this product. So huge fall favorite of mine. And then last but not least was the Merit Great Skin Instant Glow Serum. Now this was sent to me as, you know, part of their campaign when they launched this product. And being a part of the campaign, I was, you know, supposed to post about this in early November, and I was obviously, you know, communicating with their PR person, let them know how sick I was. And, you know, I have to say, I've worked with Merit a couple of times and they've sent me their products and they have been so easy to work with. And when I let them know that I was sick and I was probably not going to be able to meet their deadline, they were so nice about it. They were just like, don't even worry about it, get better, just consider it a gift. And I was just like, I was just so touched by them. Just saying, hey, just keep the product as a gift. Don't even worry about it. So I'm not under any obligation to talk about this, but I'm just talking about this because I, you know, ended up really, really loving it. So when I was not feeling well, my skincare basically just like plummeted. I did not do a whole lot of skincare. I just needed things that were super, super easy. So this is basically a biphasic product. And I have some notes here on it because I want to make sure I'm telling you guys accurately about what it is. So it is a biphasic serum. So you can see there's a water and an oil there on the top. So you do need to shake it up. There's hyaluronic acid in here, there's niacinamide, there's caffeine-rich cacao seed extract, and there's also Japanese gold thread root, which is an ingredient that I'm not familiar with, but apparently it's very soothing and it is an antioxidant. So the reason why I reached for this, and I will show you what it looks like on the skin. And you can see that it is on the runny side. It is very hydrating. And it also does give you that feeling of, I don't know, it just has a really lovely slip. And it does, I'm not gonna say it like plumps the skin. I mean, I don't know if it actually is, you know, plumping, but it does give you a really lovely, glowy, kind of juicy. I will say that, that's the word I'm looking for. It gives you a really juicy feeling and a really lovely slip. So basically in the morning and in the night, I would just do a toner and then I would put this on. And sometimes I wouldn't even put on a lotion because it just kind of like, it just made me feel like my skin, again, just kind of looked or felt hydrated, not just looked hydrated, it hydrated it. And it also gave me kind of that juicy feeling. And I just needed something to make me look alive. And that's what this product did. It just gave my skin a dose of hydration. I didn't really feel like I had to do much else because there's also the oils in here as well. Sometimes I would put a lotion on top, typically at night. But yeah, it just gives your skin such a nice, just such a nice moisturized kind of juicy feeling. I don't know. I really love the product. I think it's really, really nice. And I used it underneath my makeup today. What I use today, like I said, is the Clé de Peau concealer. And then I actually use the Merit foundation stick as well. And it kind of makes for a nice primer. It lays down a good sort of like canvas for you to put your makeup on top. So yeah, I think it's a great product. I really like it a lot. So it's also a big fall favorite for mine because while I was sick, it just made my life easier. So that was sort of the name of the game, just getting some therapeutic relief and just making my life easier. So those are my fall favorites. Those were the things that really, you know, made travel easy while I was in Japan. Those were, like I said, the hotel amenities that were just really, I don't know, just so lovely and incredible while I was there. Things that made travel easy, like I said. And my next video, which I'm gonna post very soon, will be a Black Friday video letting you know what my recommendations are. And I'll also talk about this special Live Botanical set that they have coming up for the holiday, which is really beautiful. So I will look forward to seeing you in that next one. Bye.